overprove your swag, me pop it. Pink up ready, little ice in a bucket. Pass it red rum and I make fun but on it. Whether 80 or igloo, we a plug it. Party for the summer and the girl them with it. Shout out some marina, them girl you got it. Them happy summer body ever hotter, so them drop it on it. Thugs them a guineas and split it, that's why me say. If you're ready for the summer, let's go. Shout it out and let me know. Girl everywhere we go. God I go home, we know. If you're ready for the summer, let's go. Shout it out and let me know. Girl everywhere we go. God I go home, we know. Summer down to fly down for the summer.
You see Anna.
Her skin soft like cocoa butter. She cock up on the R6 with the big papa.
We have a girl from Buffalo.
WEFM is SVG.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
If you're ready for the summer, let's go.
Shout it out and let me know.
Hey, da, 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 da. All right, we up now, right? That's the power of music. Music has a way of waking you up. That was us waking up for the morning, right? All right, so we are back with another Activated Morning segment for today. And in studio, we have Dianna, Cain, and myself, Roleza, Samuel, and we're going to be with you until 10 this morning. All right. Yeah, I hope everybody is doing okay. It's Friday. We're trying to get y'all in a mood, try to put y'all in a vibe. You know, Friday, saying it's Friday alone should get you in that mood, but you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of an extra work. All right. So extra push. All right, so special good morning to Joshua. I'm glad to see that you're there on the live, and Ernesto didn't do anything to you. So good morning, and good morning, Karen. Yes, thanks for waving at us. Good morning to all Listen, when you ask, you just burst out laughing. It's generally because of Karen. There are some antics between Karen and Rajiv. Is always something. So the impromptu laughter always stems from them. So if it sounds like we distracted, it's their fault. All right.
Go to them.
Yes. All right. So we are going to jump into a topic at this time. So yes. Right. Go ahead.
Recent political poll, new names coming out. Should the parties be concerned? That's what we're going to be talking about.
All right. So for those of you who came across this story yesterday, there were two stories published on Eyewitness News, but kind of going to focus on just one, right? For this morning. So the title of this one is NDP hopeful Kishore Shallow a better alternative PM than Camilo. Poll says. So ULP heir apparent Camilo Gonzalez polls poorly with Sabota Caesar favored by twice as many respondents. Now, I'm not going to read the full article because it's quite lengthy and it does have statistical data in it or information from the poll that came out in it. So it could be a little bit to read, right? So, but we just want to have a general discussion based on our thoughts in relation to the poll being conducted, etc., right? But just to lead with it. President of the Cricket West Indies, Kishore Shallow, who's 40 years old, has performed almost as well as opposition leader Godwin Friday in a poll about who can do a better job as prime minister than the 78-year-old Ralph Gonsalves. At the time, the Unity Labour Party's heir apparent Camilo Gonzalez has performed relatively poor and almost half as well as the main competitor within the ruling party, Sabota Caesar, who is 43. Shallow could emerge as a candidate for the main opposition New Democratic Party in North Leeward in the next general elections. Friday, who is 64, was the most preferred alternative to Gonsalves as prime minister, with 21% of respondents saying they think that he can do a better job. Friday was followed by Shallow, who had 19%. All right. One second. Right. Okay.
Shift
so
your body. Shift your body.
Okay, so Dianna, you could probably assist there. All right.
Shift.
Are you adjusting, Dianna? Because Crystal will know.
Okay.
All right, so I will
Just a
continue reading.
minute.
All right.
Yeah, you just
All right.
continue.
So, Crystal, so you could just probably say morning.
Good morning. Let's continue. Sorry.
All right. So only 9.31% of every of the 10 of the people surveyed saw the younger Gonsalves, the 52-year-old as prime minister. 52-year-old Minister of Finance is a better alternative to his father, who has been in office since 2001. All right. So again, I'm not going to read everything, but for persons who are curious, the survey was conducted in all 15 constituencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines between June 1st and 16th. There were 1,123 respondents, 48% males and 51% females, with a 99% response rate to the poll done using a digital instrument with in-person surveying. All right. Coming out of this article as well, Cain, a lawyer who is said to have been flirting with the NDP for years and is the son of former East St. George MP Stanley John, was favored among 2.06 of the respondents. Right. Scrolling down again. All right. Louise Mitchell, daughter of NDP founder and former Prime Minister, the late Sir James Mitchell, was at 0.27%. And all right, so let me just come down to the final part. As I said, it is something you're going to have to go and read it and digest it for yourself. What is of interest to me as well is that this 57, okay, so the poll shows that 57% of electors said they will be voting in the next general elections, while 20% said they will not be casting a ballot. A further 22.9% indicated that they were unsure whether they were going to vote. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. Before I give my thoughts, let's jump in to hear what Dianna has to say.
Oh, Dianna. Okay, then. Interesting. Interesting poll conducted here. I'm just trying to choose my words very, very carefully.
Spit it out and then say sorry.
Or is it it's easy to get forgiveness than to get permission? So yeah.
Say oops. Say oops. The faster you say it, the more likely you are to be forgiven. Oops.
I am actually surprised that the percentage of persons, well, I mean, I guess according to the survey, anyways, the amount of persons, but I'm actually surprised at the amount of persons that indicated that they're not voting. I thought it would be higher than that, honestly speaking.
Boy, we are really
we need to give you
you're
a
really
book.
swallowing
You have a book, she has a book.
Right it down and Crystal go talk it for you.
Yeah, let me see. Let me
Just
pick
write it
sense
down.
out the nonsense.
Crystal and I go talk for you.
Yeah. Who did the survey?
Yeah, it was mentioned. Let me try to go back.
Because I was like, I did a fast read, right? So I think I skimmed over that.
It was mentioned. Let me go back. And yes, that is important to mention.
The abbreviation is CIGPR.
No, it's
something
mentioned.
Based in.
All right.
Okay. I see it now.
Go
ahead.
So it's a Barbados-based Caribbean Institute for Governance and Policy Research. They're the ones who did it, which commissioned the survey, the results of which, it was made available to the media on Wednesday, right? So who did it was the Caribbean Institute for Governance and Policy Research.
Okay, I think that's important to note because, I mean, you see surveys and you hear these figures and percentages and people are like, who did that? Was it somebody coming from a biased perspective? You know, people would jump on that bandwagon very early, especially if the results are not in their favor based on their political persuasion. But it's rather interesting. I don't know if I relate to the party with Dr. Kishore Shallow. The headline is NDP hopeful. What is this? What is this? And some other names that you would have heard on the streets before. But the results are rather interesting. I would love to see how the respective parties respond to it.
I feel like
publicly.
I feel like I'm not gonna say how I think they're gonna respond, but I feel like I already know how they're gonna respond.
Which they?
With both of them,
Which side did they
both
write
of
it
them
for?
with usual responses. I feel, you know.
For what your time? Did you said you expected more people? I don't know how the
Two.
listeners feel. 4579997 to reach out. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know how the listeners feel about the percentages that were read out. If you want to cross reference, you can go back to IWN. You said you expected more people to
see they're not voting?
Yeah,
but that's
you know,
based on
because
what? When you
from
speak
based
to
on
people?
based on word in the street.
Mhm.
Oh, you conducted your own survey?
No, from being in different group settings and certain discussions coming up, and the responses you get from people, and of course they would share their experience from other persons, and so all the experiences and the talks coming together,
Well,
that is usually a general consensus, so to speak.
Technically, in a sense, if we have to look at it, so 20% say they will not be casting a ballot. 22.9 indicated they were unsure. So there we have a 44.9% of persons who may not or would not be doing anything at all. So I think that by itself is quite significant, right? That by itself is quite significant. So yeah.
What are they going to do? What is also important, right? The age range of the
That is
people
true.
who are undecided and decided not to vote. I think that will be like a deciding factor. That will also go towards the respective parties' political campaigns for the next general election. Because, okay, there's certain people I don't need to convince them anymore. The people we need to convince are those who are undecided. What is the age range? Are they young, middle age, older? Do we need to hit the newspapers? Do we need to go online? Do we need to throw off a big party with Vibes Cartel and bring in some big body? I don't know.
I feel like them
Young
things
folks,
gonna happen regardless, Yeah.
Regardless of the indecisive few. Like compared to the big poolers, a few people. I just want like either of them to bring in a big artist that I like.
You know you
So
ain't
let me
going,
throw
Christal. You know you're still not going.
Hello, Ira Star, right? Thames was in Barbados the other day, and it's unfortunate that like the younger demographic, the first thing, might come to your mind is, I wonder who they bring in.
Yeah.
All right, let me just give my thoughts here. Like my thoughts.
Go right ahead.
Oh Lord.
So I
buckle your seatbelts.
My whole thing with this, right? I have to question who commissioned the survey. The reason why it is I'm questioning it, right? I realized that we see names coming out in this. One of the reasons I told somebody yesterday that it's kind of difficult for me to speak on the topic of let's say Kishore Shallow being put forward, because I have not seen or heard him actually come out and say that he is being considered a candidate. Coming out of the article as well, I see names mentioned such as Cain John. I see
Miss Mitchell.
What's her name? Louise Mitchell's name also being mentioned. I have not. Yes, you may have heard things on the ground. But in terms of them coming out and stating their interest in terms of running for politics, I have not heard this. So for me to hear these names being mentioned in an article, a poll being done, the persons who it is that they would have conducted the polls with, were they aware of the interest of these persons in participating in politics? So who is it that they actually interviewed for this, right? And if you are going to do a comparison between a well-known candidate or persons who are already out there, as opposed to somebody who is new to the market, how much information could they have gone on to say that they have a preference for this individual over somebody already existing? Right? So these are things that I have to question. Now, I'm not saying the validity of the results are not, they're not correct, but I do have to wonder, where did it come from? Because these are names who are just being thrown out, quote unquote, thrown out there. Yes, you may have known of these persons in a different aspect before. So Kishore Shallow or Dr. Kishore Shallow would have known from cricket. Cain John is a lawyer, and he's also quite active within the football, one of the clubs for football, right? Louise Mitchell, we would have known her from, I think it's National Trust. And I think she's also a lawyer, etc. And of course, being the daughter of the late Sir James Mitchell. But
and the
in terms
Environmental Fund.
Right. But in terms of their political interest, we've not heard them come out and say anything.
So as you say, they didn't say anything. So I'm thinking this the persons who conducted the survey, they have some inside scope, some inside details.
And it has to be inside details in favor of the NDP. Because the only new person's name who, quote unquote, was put forward in here is Christal Peters, but she's already a minister, right? And she has, in a way, already declared her interest in running for West Kingstown. So
I don't really see it as inside information favoring the NDP so much so, because the ULP have already, well, for me, I already see the 15 candidates. I don't see anybody changing. But that's just me. I don't know if...
Yeah, but the seats have not declared who's going to run for the next elections, for the constituencies. So it's not a showcase of, so let's say, give me somebody. So both the seats are definitely running back. You have to have nominations there, etc., in order before you could say that this is actually the declared person.
Yeah, but coming from the ULP, you know that he is going to be the candidate for a constituency.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that there are some constituencies where we're not certain of, right? So
for ULP?
There are some constituencies where they are not necessarily declared persons as yet. So how is it that we haven't heard other persons' names on the side of the ULP coming through to be compared in the poll as well, unless another poll is going to be conducted?
What if they don't have anybody? I don't think that they run like that, but maybe I don't know, maybe it's a case where that person's name is not so much out there.
So how it is that they know to pull out these persons for the
they probably got that one, but okay, let's picture this. They went to this particular party and hi, can you tell me some of the new persons that you have? Oh yeah, sure, these are the persons we have. And then go to the other person and then, okay, can you tell me we're not ready to release that information just yet. I'm just saying.
They just give a lot of questions to be asked, and I find the only person who could really ask is the CI something PR.
Or let
me get the right name and get them scroll down.
Yeah.
But the other names I've heard.
We've heard on the ground, Christal. All of us have heard the names on the ground.
But that's how it starts, because listen.
I didn't hear them on the ground.
So you see,
you're on the front ground. But that's how it starts, right? Before you get to even being like an NDP or ULP hopeful, you have a pool of people. And then internally, they have their own elections and they select somebody. Oh, that could be so much bassa. Oh, I'm remembering last elections. Woo! Oh, Lord Jesus. Yes, let's continue. Right. So if you want to chime in, 457-9997, the number to call on WhatsApp. Go ahead.
The NDP there's this article where it says NDP closer to announcing candidates for North Central Leeward.
They even want to get me started.
There's a line in it where I think I think this is Sinclair Leacock speaking here. He said, for some of us, this is our last hurrah. And some of us just holding on for our next election because we want to see NDP into government.
All right, so we can take the caller this time. Hi caller, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Are you ready to check me? A long time.
We saw.
So you all been ignoring me.
No, we just wanted to get our thoughts out and then, right.
Well, for me, for somebody like me, there isn't much thought. Everything to me is like ABC, plain ABC. The ULP regime has, and I love to use it, I love to say that way, the ULP regime has been in charge of this country for 23 going on to 24 years. We have never had it. We have never had a government in this country serving for so long. The question that comes to mind there, is that good for our democracy? Is that what our democracy would like? Having a government in office, like in Central America, the other government that tells you the leader got blind, sick, and dotish and all of that. And this could happen here too. This could happen here if that's the thinking of some of our people, not all the people. But having lived with the politics of this country, like I said, I could see it in plain ABC language, right? And this government, the Prime Minister especially, would have benefited from the disasters, for instance, that would have happened, that would have taken place in this country over the years. He would have benefited from that.
He would have benefited out of the country. What do you mean? Be explicit with that.
In terms of the politics. Let me say that quickly.
Okay.
He would have benefited. Now, all we can see things alike. Some of we are more experienced, more education, more knowledge, and all of that more than some. But I raise these issues because, like I said, it's the first time we've had a government serving in our country for so long. And for some people, this government must go on forever and forever until thy kingdom come. And the Prime Minister knows how to play on that because he has publicly said, whether it is in jest or what, he wants to live until 110 years, something like that. Christal, you could correct me if I'm wrong. But when one looks at the ULP, I don't want to say anything to make them, to give any sort of advantage. But I am aware, and I know certain issues, like the last convention that they would have had, was the last one? When they had the convention, everybody was shouting, Caesar, Caesar, Caesar,
Sorry.
to take over the party. Right? So all these things you got to look at. But I think I've said enough. Let me hear what other people have to say, man. I am not the only Vincentian, but I'm very concerned about our politics and if it is really bringing progress, success. Mind you, there always will be those people who are close to the government who will benefit. Thank you.
All right, Dave. Thanks. All right. So go ahead.
So he just mentioned something there. I forgot to mention that part earlier where he was saying the persons were shouting Caesar, Caesar. From last elections, though, word on the ground, back to the ground again. The ULP supporters that I was in conversation with did mention Caesar being their preference from way back when. So there was sort of a preference for Saboto Caesar over Camila Gonzalez. Yeah, so that part in the article didn't surprise me when I read that. Yeah.
All right. So we know that somebody was trying to call, so you can try calling back at this time. All right.
Dashing over money. Agricultural
You,
finance.
Christal. No, I thought you said dash in the first place.
Dashing over money.
All right.
That's what people say.
Yeah, but
sorry.
Go ahead. You're good.
I don't see Montgomery Dana running back. I don't know if that was said previously, but even though it was said or not said by the Unity Labour Party, I don't see him running back. I don't.
Stevenson.
Yeah, I don't see there.
So you see, this is the point that I was making, Christal. This is the point that I was making, where you can't tell me that there are persons who may be considering going up as a candidate on the ULP side, and how is it that they were not mentioned in the article as well?
Wasn't Grace Walters a new person within ULP?
Mentioned, right? So
I didn't know that.
The fact that the article focused so much more on the NDP potential candidates is why it is that I
feel like it's because they gave their information. They gave their info. I don't know.
Give it to the persons conducting the poll.
That could mean so many different things, you know. Another thing it could mean is, okay, the NDP probably, if it is that these names are in fact going forward as hopefuls. It means that they are looking at their slate of candidates and saying, or maybe some of the existing candidates are saying, you know what, I am on my way out. I can't live here forever. I want to go and plant some dashi in the hills. And they're like assessing and refreshing their states of candidates
That's
as opposed
the NDP
to
you're talking about.
the NDP, as opposed to the
look,
ULP.
so in the
it's
same
working,
article
so I
again,
changed.
St. Clair Leacock said that in response to the statement that they're going to release their candidates soon. He says they are young, talented, attractive professionals. I don't know really attractive is their looks or their portfolio, but he said that they are
Attractive
young,
for voting.
talented.
Yes, please.
For voting.
It's not Mr. SVG or Miss SVG here.
So
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning. I always laugh when I hear people say, oh, someone is too long in office, someone is too long in this. I wonder if you have a good relationship, when is it too long in the relationship for you to show with your partner?
That different?
No, that's different.
No, that's not different in it.
Yes, it
No,
is.
there's no
Yes, it
difference
is.
in
Because listen, you are supposed to be together with that person based on the biblical teachings
That's
until
one
death
person.
do us part.
That's one
right?
person.
There's nothing in the Bible that says we have to have a party until death do we part.
A party leader.
Yeah, party leader or
Excuse me.
political party or individual. Yes, please.
There's nothing in the Bible tell you that you don't get close part in the Bible. Go in the Bible and check it out. There's nothing about marriage in the Bible now.
Well, till death do us part. Okay, my apologies for getting it wrong with the biblical thing, but I grew up in Christianity, and they tell us
that is man-made. Trust me.
The till death do us part, and this is also man-made.
Well, it's the same thing I said. So when that is the point I'm making.
Right.
When does you decide that you need to throw your partner?
Yeah, but at the head of an organization, if you don't think that you being there for an extended period of time and you not being able to have somebody else come up, there's something wrong.
Let me change it now.
You change it fast, boy. What happened? Engage me now.
You open up your business. No, you open up your business. You the head of your business, and you're walking and then feel like you're outdated. You think you should just give up?
I think I should listen to them. Yes, especially if it's going to be hurting my business. I think I should. And as the owner of a business or the person who started the business, why would I want to be at the helm all the time? Or for forever? How is the business going to continue effectively if I am the one who has to be the one there?
I'm saying the point I'm making is how much time is the right time for you to give up. That's the point I'm making.
Man, after 10 years, you need to start putting things in place.
Yeah, but you understand? I'm saying how much time is the right time for you to say, okay, I'm giving up my business to my children or my so-and-so without even shadowing them or without even putting things in place.
No, nobody said you have to be completely removed. Nobody said you have to be completely removed. You can still be there, but you don't have to be at the helm.
I'm saying when things are working in a physics, you have to have things in place in order to take over for that thing to continue. Until that happens, you can't just give it up and say, okay, I have enough of this and walk away.
So are you saying that enough foresight wasn't given in terms of that transition period?
Listen, the transition sometimes takes a little bit longer than you expect.
Because it's not a transition.
How you know there's no transition?
If it's not a transition, transitions are supposed to take 10 years.
You're supposed to be putting things in place, Kojo. That's what it's supposed to be putting things in place.
Well, maybe with politics is different to other things. But
I see I'm not going to win this one. So let me go back to the polling system. Go ahead,
Kojo.
That polling, you could tell exactly who did that polling and for what reason, who paid for it. You don't have to ask no question. You don't have to beat around the bush. The polling was paid for by somebody. NDP pay for polling, ULP pay for polling. A lot of times, the government in power will not put out the polling unless they need to put it out. the opposition party will always want to put out the polling so that they could show favor in themselves. That's all I'm saying. And I finish with the morning.
Opinion
All
number
right.
one.
Thanks,
But
Roger.
in all fairness, right? If you are a leader of any organization, I think there are telltale signs as to indicate when it's time for you to start passing on, transitioning that baton. If the business starts to dip downwards, if there are fresh ideas on the market and you're not able to capitalize on them, and there are other people within the organization who have those ideas, basically maybe the leadership kind of dwindling a little bit. I mean, you should be able to tell because you are a leader, right? Honestly, I don't think there is a number of years that can be put on it. Maybe for some institutions, they put that there to prevent certain things from happening, like a little bit of hanky-panky behind the scenes, right? To ensure that things are constantly fresh and people don't become complacent. But if your entity is designed in such a way that complacency is not evident, and the entity still maintains relevance, and they still maintain they're still able to stay afloat year after year with the same leadership, then perhaps it's a matter of like just training folks for when it is that time for you to leave. If the system is designed in such a way where you can still run it efficiently, and you are the most fit person to run it at that time.
But they say that the sign of a good leader is being able to allow your staff, your juniors, whoever it is, to be able to run it effectively, to run whatever the organization, the company, or whatever it is, to run it effectively. Because it means that you would have trained well enough for somebody to be able to take over.
Why train somebody if you don't want to leave? That's a flip side to what you're saying.
Right. So yes, the coming out of this, the results of the polls are very interesting. What it is that got me annoyed, well, quote unquote annoyed, I ain't really that seriously annoyed. I'm just using the word annoyed. So when we have to look back at the article that was entitled the article for NDP, right? No, not that one.
Oh, the other one, NDP closer to announcing candidates for North and Central Leeward.
So you see, this is my problem, right? We are close to having a general elections by next year, right? I think in the article, the first article, it said, I think it's constitutionally due by February of 2026, right? What it is, and I'm saying, and I will be saying this until the slate of candidates is announced. What it is I cannot understand is why we wait so long to announce who the candidates are. I am not going to be voting for anybody who just comes on the scene and who just posts pictures on social media and making it seem as if they're doing work, right? Unless I know of, let's say, your background in terms of the work that you've been doing within your constituencies beforehand. It's not that easy for me to just go out and vote for somebody who is just, quote unquote, brand new to the scene or who has just been announced. I can never understand it on both sides why it is they wait so late to announce persons.
Give me the constituencies again, please.
North and Central Leeward.
North and Central
Leeward.
So North Leeward before would have been Patel is
Roland. Wait,
Matthews.
Roland Matthews.
Roland Matthews.
Okay.
Patel.
Who's Patel? Patel is
the
from
same
before.
Person. No, Patel is Roland Matthews.
Patel, Roland Matthews. Right. Okay. Right. All right.
Yeah, and Central Leeward. Okay, which was Brewster.
Bruce is on ULP side, right?
Who's on the?
I remember in Exeter, but is Exeter from
Yes,
last?
I feel like it's Exeter.
What if he was from last time though? I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. But this is, and it will forever be my issue.
Here's what, right? Are those your constituencies? Oh gosh, I mean,
should it matter?
I mean,
but no, you see, Christal, so this
don't
is
laugh
no,
answer me now. Answer. Don't give me no long time.
She actually does have a point with the question, but let me tell you why you have a point.
No. Are they from your constituency?
Right, so
yes or no? Don't give me a response to that. Are they from your constituency?
Christal. So okay, so
Yes
my
or
answer.
no?
I answered you.
Yes,
That's answered.
The answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is no, right? And the reason I ask is because the people within the constituency would know who the hopefuls are because they are on the ground before they make it nationally public. Like, for example, East St. George, I knew the one or two people from the NDP side because they were on the ground and people like talking within the constituency before it got public. And that's what you have to do, the groundwork, and that is the NDP strategy,
no? Let me tell you why it is.
Give me the long answer now.
Let me tell you, so to answer Christal's question, right? No, they're not. None of them are from my constituency.
But you don't need to know.
But the thing of it is that do we generate, how many persons actually vote for the best person for their constituency as opposed to wanting to vote for the person representing the party that they want to have?
You have to look at the
over.
Constitution.
No.
You have to look at the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines release, all right? You have to look at the Constitution.
Look at it that
the
way.
political party that gets the most seats gets into government.
So do I think
So
that
when I'm
I think
voting, I don't have time. I ain't worried about who fit for my constituency. I worried about if my party winning.
Exactly.
Party in
so
the
that I
government.
voted for my
Because,
party.
listen, the promises overwhelmingly is a word? Overwhelmingly, right? Boy.
It's always start
overwhelmingly, right? They promote what they can do for the country. And then you would have your respective representatives who will talk about this community needs this. When we get into office, because that's the way that they are able to deliver on the promises based on constituency, you have to get into power. Let me not say power. I don't like the word power. You have to get into government, right? How else would you get into government? Not necessarily by voting, oh, I like this guy because he can represent us well. You vote for him because you want the party that he is representing to get into office.
Which is why
there are lots of times people vote for people and they don't like them.
But which is why I would still prefer to know the full slate, because if I think that they are going to do an effective job at running or forming government, that is why it says I would vote for them.
Here's another thing too. They say that some of the representatives from the ULP side are not doing a very good job within their respective constituencies. Every election, you will hear the same thing. What happens at the next election? The party is still voted into office and people are still disgruntled at the end of the day. So, anyways.
All right.
Hi,
so we know what's going to happen, that this is going to be a continuous conversation until elections. God, I don't even want to until election results are called, because we just continue after. All right, but this was an interesting conversation, but there will be many more of it, right? So we have to. We are going to have to jump out at this time, and it is 8:45, and it's time for us to have our courts desk with our lovely Lisa.
It's time to get all your essentials for back to school. Need cash now to make shopping for the new school year easy? Quartz Ready Cash loans are hassle-free and affordable. Plus, if you take